Okay, it's 6:01, and I hereby call this Parks and Rec meeting to order. Commissioner Frankham is going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Oh, here we are. Okay. All right, Marcia, please lead us in a roll call vote.
Commissioner Wonder, Commissioner Murphy,
Present.
Chair Sue,
Present.
Vice Chair Herman,
Here.
Commissioner Frankham, Commissioner Russell, Commissioner Godinez, and excused absences for tonight are Commissioner Chaffone and Commissioner Hofstad.
Okay, I would like to have a moment of silence for Homer Post, who has passed away. All right, thank you. Mark will be sharing more about Mr. Post later this evening. Marissa, do we have any non-agenda public comments?
Yes, we do. Can I please have Diane Welke come down?
Good evening, Chair Sue and commissioners. I'm Diane Wolke. I'm a 20-year resident of Oceanside. living in District 2 in Arrowwood by Luiseno Park, where this picture was actually taken at the Vista Sports Park, I believe on their plastic turf field. I wanted to give you an update
What picture?
on what's going on with synthetic turf. I am in communication with the California Department of Toxic Substance Control. PFAS and chemicals of concern are currently under review by the department. PFAS are man-made chemicals, synthetic chemicals that are known to cause a myriad of health concerns, including cancers, multiple cancers, and some of you heard me speak to this issue at the recent ad hoc committee meeting. Excuse me. They are likely going to expand beyond PFAS because there are multiple concerns with this. As you can see, heat islands and turf burns and other types of dermal burns are a huge concern with these fields. I know that there is a push for this at this time. It's imprudent because it's going to be coming under regulation, just like PFAS in household and commercial carpets, PFAS in cosmetics. Just today, they issued their report on PFAS in leather-treated textiles. And just to give you an idea of just how serious they are about the PFAS concerns. So I wanted to give you an update on that. Microplastics are a huge issue. We know that for a regulation size field, which is about 81,000 square feet, each field loses about 551 to 661 pounds per year. And most of these fields, being in the USA, we have to supersize everything, right? We have a couple of fields in San Diego County that are 400,000 square feet. San Diego County, just with our parks and our schools, we have over 14.1 million square feet of plastic grass. This is a plastic product, make no mistake about it. The health effects with the plastics alone are well known. In addition, these fields have flame retardants. They have antimicrobials, some of which are illegal, and the TTSC is now well aware of these. And so I just wanted you to have kind of a quick update about what's coming down the line. Microplastics are in the news. They have been for quite some time now because of the research that has gone on at Scripps Institute of Oceanography, where they have their oceanographers. They have people who actually specialize in microplastics pollution. It impacts people. It's now been found in human blood.
Thank you.
And newborn stool. Babies are being born pre-polluted, folks.
Okay. Let's move on to our action items. So 3A, approval of movements for the March 15th special meeting.
I so move.
So I have Vice Chair Herman first, second Commissioner Frankham. And let's do a vote. Commissioner Godney? Yes.
Yeah, I don't remember too much of what you said. As far as the minutes.
You have the minutes in front of you.
He's looking at them. So they don't do like play-by-play anymore. I think at one point the council instructed that it would be more like broad, like an outline. So this is what they approved. So we're approving this piece of paper.
Can you put your mic on, please?
And then just pull it close to your face.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I tried to ask for the minutes because I was unaware that we don't have like a back and forth exchange of whatever was discussed at the last.
Oh, no, I sent you the minutes again for you to
Right.
review. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's very broad on how we,
Right, that's what Kellen just informed me on. So
yes.
is there another way of getting that kind of dialogue back and forth?
You can ask for a public records request from city clerks, and they can give you a video of it if you want to watch our meeting again.
There's a video of it. Okay. And then you can just take your own notes off of that?
Sure.
I can if you want them, but let's just vote on this at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I was just, when you sent me the agenda, I saw where approval of the minutes. And so I just remembered that was a day when we buried my sister but I wasn't all there as far as mentally. So it said approval of minutes. I just kind of remember a few things that I had
So you
talked
can,
about.
you are more than welcome to abstain if you don't want to approve these minutes. But all we're doing right now is just saying, do we approve these or not? Just this piece of paper.
Right. I mean.
And you don't, so would you like to abstain?
Really doesn't matter. Yeah, I'll approve it.
Okay.
But is this the way it always is and always was, or?
This piece of paper? Yes, this
Yeah.
is how this piece of paper has always been.
Oh, okay, all right, I approve.
Thank you. Commissioner Russell? Commissioner Frankham?
Yes.
Vice Chair Herman?
Approved.
Chair Sue?
Approve.
And Commissioner Wonder?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just want to remind all of our commissioners to turn those microphones on and to speak into them, have them directed at your mouths, just so if you would like to watch the recording of it, that there is good audio on that. And so that Marissa can hear us. Okay. Our next item, there was a motion at our last meeting to, or no, there was not a motion. There was a request to move Parks and Rec meetings to 5 PM. Is there a discussion? Would we like to discuss?
Yes.
Go ahead, Commissioner Frankham.
One of the thoughts I have is a little broader view of this. We now have a situation, as a lot of cities do, where it's almost impossible to be elected or to be an effective council member without independent source of income because of the amount of money, of time they have to invest in meetings and that sort of thing. And it makes it very difficult for, like the common person to be as effective in local government as they might otherwise be. The reason that I bring it up here is because if we move this to 5 o'clock, then we almost automatically rule out any working person who doesn't even get off work until 5 and then comes from, say, San Diego and can't even be in town before 6. I think it's a mistake. I would not support it.
I know Commissioner Chaffone is the one who raised this issue and she is not here. So I just wanted to note that. Do we have any other discussion? Yes, Commissioner Herman.
Sorry. I would just say that I would be in favor of it because these meetings seem to run longer than and longer over time. So instead of getting out at, say, 8:30 or 9, we could free up our time a little earlier. So I plan to vote yes on this measure.
Yeah, I'll go ahead, Commissioner Wonder.
I agree with Tom. I believe that having the meeting earlier does not allow for working people to get home and feed their families and get to the meetings or on Zoom to listen to the meetings. So I am not in favor of changing the time at all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner, yeah, listen.
Yes, I feel the same way. I think it's more about the community. We as commissioners, we took an oath to be a part of this, and every 2 months we meet to do this. So I think it's in our best interest to kind of try to accommodate the community more than, what sacrifice we might be making. So I would vote against changing it from 6 to 5.
Do we have any other discussion? Are we ready to vote? Anything to discuss? Okay. Do we need a motion? But if, okay.
I'll move that we change the meeting time from 6 to 5.
Okay, is there a second? Okay,
Dies on the vine.
then it,
Mm.
it's done. Okay.
For the record, that will die for lack of a second, so that motion.
Do you
will-
need me to
no,
say that?
That's fine.
It dies for lack of a second. Thank you. Okay. Commissioner Godinay
Oh, okay.
and all of the ad hoc.
Right, okay. First off, I just want to apologize for being late. Got a lot of personal things going on with my family and trying to balance it. So, but the show must still go on. So my name is Wilson Godinay, and I just want to introduce what's left of our ad hoc committee. It's Commissioner Genevieve Wonder and Commissioner Lisa Russell. So I'm basically giving an update of our ad hoc committee. Our ad hoc committee reads as, it's an acronym, FAIR Play. So it stands for Finding Accessibility in Rentals, Permits, and Leases Action. And our goal is to review the Parks and Rec rental, lease, and permit application process, policies and procedures with regards to accessing fields, facilities, etc., to identify areas in need of improvement and development of solutions. So that's what that's all about. And I was going to ask Lisa if she can read a few items. And Arlene volunteered to help put it on the overhead. Lisa, go ahead and let her know which one you are reading.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Russell. And I am going to read a letter from former Amanda Nelson, who was on the ad hoc committee and who's no longer on the ad hoc committee. This was dated March 14th. I'm going to read a personal note to Wilson, the chair. Hi, Wilson. Sorry for being unavailable last night, but I did listen to your message this morning. Please see my summary of thoughts below and feel free to use all or part of it in the upcoming meeting. I'm sorry to be leaving in the middle of what seems to be a crucial time. You have certainly drawn some attention. Additionally, I wanted to repeat my best wishes for your family in the difficult time. The fact that you are proceeding and working on this cause at the time speaks to your passion and dedication. I found it inspiring when I joined the committee, and even more so now. With fond regards, Amanda. And the next message is to the members of the Parks and Rec Commission, also from Amanda Nelson, former ad hoc member. Dear members of the Parks and Rec Commission, I first want to express my sincere gratitude to the members of the commission and to the ad hoc committee members in particular. While my time on the commission was unfortunately cut short, circumstances beyond my control, the time I was able to serve offered many reasons to be proud of the city of Oceanside, not least the passion displayed by the members of the community, the commission, and the city staff I was able to interact with. The investigation conducted by the ad hoc committee found many places for improvement in access to the city's resources. More specifically, I was distressed and in some cases appalled to hear of the barriers and challenges faced by sports organizations in assessing fields and facilities, particularly for the community's youth. During the commission meetings and the open forum held on March 2nd, community leaders related experiences with the city's Parks and Recreation Department that amount to systemic inequities in the allocation of resources. The experience was sharply at odds with the presentations given by the staff, which indicated a belief that the current system is working. Well, I believe we can be confident in the initial finding that this is not true. The findings so far indicate there is far more work to be done by the ad hoc committee and the city of Oceanside in ensuring equity, transparency, and respect for the community and allocating city resources for the greatest possible benefit. I send my best wishes for the community. Continue this important work. Best regards, Amanda Nelson.
Thank you. You've got a couple of other items to read?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like to read the mission statement of the Parks and Recreation. Fiscal year 2022-23 work plan. The mission statement of the Parks and Recreation Commission is to promote and advocate for parks and recreation services in an advisory capacity, to develop and preserve open space and natural resources, and to develop safe parks and recreation facilities. The commission, working with the Parks and Recreation Division, shall advocate for educational and recreational opportunities for the benefit and the enjoyment of the community, and enrich the quality of life for residents and visitors alike while preserving it for future generations. And now the vision. The vision is to create community through people, parks, and programs by strengthening community image, prioritizing safety and security, promoting health and wellness, fostering human development, increasing cultural unity, protecting environmental resources, protecting recreational experiences, facilitating community problem solving.
One more? Did you have one more to read?
Which one?
I think it's this one. Just the mission statement on that.
Oh, the mission statement?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a mission statement from our Spring Parks and Recreation from 2016. We might need to update a few of the statements, but again, this is our mission statement from 2016. To enhance the quality of life of Oceanside residents and to function as a change agent in building strong families and safe communities through people, parks, and programs.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, change agent. That's what I believe we are. We're supposed to be doing that. I just wanted to read my statement and then we'll go from there. We should be wrapping it up pretty soon. Okay. The Oceanside Parks and Rec Commission meets bi-monthly. The past 6 months since the Fair Play Ad Hoc Committee was sanctioned on November 11th with a majority vote of Parks and Rec Commission. The commission has met 3 times, January 11th, March 15th, and tonight. The Fair Play Ad Hoc Committee has met at least 12 times and has reported and updated the commission at each meeting. Along with these meetings, 2 sports and athletic forums were held. The first one was held at the library conference room on Wednesday, March 2nd, followed by one held last month at Melba Bishop on Wednesday, April 27th. No doubt we're a busy team and dedicated to listening to the voices of our citizens, assuring them that their input will not be in vain. I can't say enough as to the commitment and fortitude of my fellow commissioners, which include former commissioners Amanda Nelson and Janae Alms, as well as my team members, current Commissioner Genevieve Wonder and Lisa Russell. I'd like to now focus on one part of the 22-23 Commission Mission and Vision Work Plan, which was approved last September. The vote to pass the work plan was 8-1. I was the dissenting vote due to my concerns about supporting a document which listed objectives that I haven't experienced, as well as many of the sports leaders who attended the sports forum on March 2nd and April 27th. But most, but not all of the sports representatives and coaches were of Samoan or Polynesian descent. Part of the work plan features 9 bullet points, several of which concern me. And some of those were on that work plan bullet points. All are critical, but if we focus on several which are relevant to both recent sports forums, increasing cultural unity and facilitating community problem solving, we find ourselves in the midst of an opportunity to address these stated objectives. To make sure these and the rest of our listed objectives come to fruition, why wouldn't we? These are our own words. This is what we're saying and offering to Oceanside residents, our best effort. Thankfully, for the past several months of putting words into action has produced some permits and access for many of the sports organizations who requested permits. These are the same groups who complained loudly at the March 2nd sports forum. Thank you, Parks and Rec. On March 27th, our ad hoc forum at Melba Bishop Rec Center, we hosted a packed room of residents from the back gate area, sports organization reps and coaches, OUSD school board and administrative officials, Parks and Rec administration, Samoan community reps, Save Our Streets, as well as Parks and Rec Chairperson Commissioner Sue. A serious and troubling issue arose during the forum regarding the OUSD City of Oceanside Joint Use Agreement. On January 27th ad hoc meeting, our team met with Rec Administration, Division Manager Mark Olson, CJ Palmer, Junior Seau Beach Community Center Director, plus Fields and Facilities Permits, and Patrick Young, Special Events. Mr. Palmer came forth in mentioning his affiliation with Coastal Academy, i.e. coaching family, children, or students. I mentioned if they were part of the OUSD Oceanside City JUA, which I heard expired last August 2021. Mr. Olson confirmed the city was in ongoing negotiations with the Coastal Academy, was continuing to use and access city ball fields, both gyms, the Junior Seau and the Melba Bishop, the Aquatic Center, etc., under the JUA agreement over the past several years. Also, a donation of 5 bleachers totaling $14,000 by the Coastal Academy to the Junior Seau Beach Center last November. CJ's admission that his brother-in-law was the head varsity coach and the home games were in the Junior Seau Gymnasium calls into question, at the very least, the perception of a conflict of interest as stated in the City of Oceanside donation acceptance form. The city must always consider the public trust. Junior Seau grew up in Eastside, Balderrama Park, Beach Community Center, Oceanside is local. One more paragraph. Also brought forth during the forum on April 27th was an oral statement that made by OUSD administrator that OUSD has oversight authority over Coastal Academy and other charter schools. Coastal Academy was never authorized and is not currently authorized to access any Oceanside fields, facilities, courts, pools, etc. under the JUA. When it became clear from OUSD official at the forum regarding the joint use agreement, Mr. Olson stood up and responded, quote, "I made that decision. We have a statement from Dr. Andrea Norman of OUSD, and we have OUSD school board member Raquel Alvarez in attendance, who attended both sports and athletic forums to confirm no authorization. This is a very serious situation, as it shouldn't matter who is representing these important positions of authority. A check and balance system must be in place to ensure fairness, accountability, transparency, and protect the public trust. The ad hoc committee is recommending our commission and do an internal review into all the facilities, fields, courts, and aquatics usage by Coastal Academy. So we will contact, or we recommend that the city attorney and the city manager do an investigation, get a dollar amount as well as hours. Because what's at stake is trust in the recreation administration. So that's basically it, because that's the reason why we formed this ad hoc committee, because so many of the sports teams were being told that you can't use this facility or that facility because it's already been reserved. So if this is true, because I do have a copy of the joint use agreement sent to me by Mark back in January, when we had a meeting with the staff, and it shows that they weren't a part of it. They weren't listed on the other schools that are part of the joint use agreement. And that joint use agreement was done back in 2016. I think Mark joined was hired in 2018. So yeah, it looks like you did make a decision. Not sure what gave you the authority to do that, but I don't know if you brought it before the Parks and Rec Commission, but anything like that, I would almost recommend that we have a more check and balance kind of thing like that, because that just, like I said, from a perception that we had, and that's the reason why we started this ad hoc committee. We've uncovered a lot, and we've seen that you've made some attempts to take care of everyone that was at that forum.
Oh.
But how did this even happen? So that's what I wanted to say. So that's I'm pretty much done. So we're just about there. So Lisa, you wanted to go ahead? No, you. Oh. Well, actually, no. Oh, okay, yes.
I just would like to echo what Commissioner Godinez was saying. I appreciate this ad hoc committee, and I 100% would like to maybe, and I don't know how to go about it, but extend the ad hoc committee for another 6 months. I don't know, do I ask
No,
that?
so
or-
we want to, this isn't, we're not going to discuss right now, because we will take public comment and then we will discuss and vote.
Oh.
I also meant to and forgot to designate Commissioner Murphy as a voting member tonight. So sorry. Is that the end of the presentation? Should we take public comment, or do you?
I still have.
Okay, but there will be discussion too. So I just don't know where your presentation.
When I can
Go ahead.
You speak now, Genevieve Wonder. You go ahead, Commissioner Wonder.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners, community at large.
Commissioner Wonder,
Okay.
is this part of the report, or this may be more appropriate for discussion?
I am letting them choose that. I have no idea. So I think she wants to speak now.
Is that okay? Is it okay? I speak? Okay, I would just like to make a comment about the thank you, first of all, for allowing us to have the ad hoc committee. You know, it's an important step forward. However, and I've said this from the very, very beginning, that unless you look at this with your heart and open mind, we can't go further, okay? I believe that Mark has helped us in the fact that we asked for transparency. He has sent us documents that are transparent. As far as I'm concerned, there's more to be added, of course, but that's in the future. We had asked for a calendar on the website. We got that calendar. It's there. So this is proving that the city is working with us, okay? Now we need the community to work with us. We are the ad hoc committee and we are hoping to get this moving forward. But you know what? If you're not part of the solution, then you're part of the problem, okay? So I believe in my heart that this is going to go forward, but I also believe that we do need more time. Okay, and I just want to say, Mark, thank you for everything that you have done for us in the ad hoc committee and everyone else that has been involved with this, the community at large. And thank you, the community, for allowing us to be at a forum and for you to come and give us your ideas and your thoughts. This is all we're taking into consideration to move this forward. So I just want to thank everyone.
All right, public comment. How many do we have?
We have 5 public comments, and I just want to remind everyone, you have 3 minutes. Can I please have Mayor Esther Sanchez, please?
Thank you. Honorable Chair, members of the Parks and Rec Commission. I rise on this item because I do hope that there will be a motion and there was a question, how do we do this? How do we continue this? And I did get a chance to talk to the city manager, interim city manager, who seems to be very supportive of this. So the motion would be to have this committee become a standing committee, So there would be a motion to make this a standing committee and then a second and then a vote. And I will hope that you all support that. As you probably know, by law, the city is only required to have one commission, the Housing Commission. And that's because the state laws having to do with affordability as well as anti-discriminatory actions. The other commissions are because the city needs you. We cannot conduct this kind of business at a city council meeting. So this is certainly helping us to address issues that would be extremely difficult to do at a city council meeting. Having an ad hoc committee actually facilitates this dialogue. And as you know, there's a lot of requests from the public to be able to go to this commission and address issues. Now, sometimes it's just a misunderstanding. Sometimes, it takes a while to figure out, well, how did this happen? So I believe that you have the ability to do this, to assist the city council in addressing some of these concerns, actually all of the concerns. And I do support you doing this because it helps me as a mayor now, but it certainly as a council member, I have tried to address some of these issues. It's very difficult. It's been very difficult. And doing it in this way is just, you are accomplishing more than I have been able to do in the last 10 years. What can I tell you? So I am asking you, the city manager, interim city manager, Jonathan Borrego seems to be very supportive. In fact, he facilitated adding this to the agenda. So I am asking you to please support this. First, of course, Commissioner Godney, you would be making the motion, or somebody would be making the motion to convert this to a standing committee. There would be a need for a second and then a vote. Thank you very much.
Can I please have Arlene Hammerschmidt come down, please? You have 3 minutes.
My time starts when I start speaking, not when I. So please reset the clock. Thank you. Arlene Hammerschmidt, Ruralish Fire Mountain. I have been advocating for Oceanside kids' health and well-being since 1985 when I was hired at OHS teaching physical education and as head volleyball coach. Please extend the ad hoc committee either the time or its organization, as a mayor recommended. Please uncover how all that I'm going to mention happened and how to make sure they do not happen again. These are questions: conflict of interest, fraud, social injustice, AKA institutional racism, lack of transparency, conflict of interest. How is it that Coastal Academy received permits to use city fields and facilities, yet Oceanside sport groups were denied and unable to? Mr. Olson publicly stated at the last ad hoc committee that he'd made the decision to approve that. He was answering a question to Mr. CJ Palmer. The public perception is conflict of interest, straight up special treatment. Coastal Academy's director of athletics stated that he'd never had any problem getting permits for city use, city fields, et cetera. Mr. Palmer's children, as we heard, attend Coastal Academy. Mr. Palmer stated that at least one of his children was on a Coastal Academy athletic team. That's a full circle. Conflict of interest, and the perception is ugly. Was there fraud? Coastal Academy is not an OUSD shared use agreement school, which we've heard about already. Did Coastal Academy claim to be an OUSD agreement school on the application? If so, that is fraud. If not, it's special treatment. Social injustice or institutional racism. Last ad hoc committee, a speaker stated that these inequities were also a social justice issue, to which Mr. Olson is reported to have said he didn't understand that statement. Not being able to see the social injustice evidence that was presented at that meeting is evidence of institutional racism within Parks and Recreation. There's a lack of transparency. There is no reason a member of the public should have to create a public information request to view the video of these meetings. What is Parks and Recreation hiding? That we can't just go to the website and pull up the video and watch this next week?
Okay, thank you.
Can I please have Wayne Godney?
Also remember, lights increase access to fields for everyone.
Thank you. Wayne Goldney, Save Our Streets, Simone Cultural, and private citizen. Chairperson and commissioners, thank you for my 3 minutes. I'm going to be flying solo with my thoughts here on things that I've experienced in the last couple of months. But I want to thank the commissioners for something really huge. You voted on November 11th, in support of this ad hoc. I've been coming here for 5-6 years since Labor Day weekend in 2016 when Annabelle Flores was shot and killed, especially the two gentlemen. I've seen you for quite a few years. Been coming with even Annabelle's grandfather, Robert Espinosa, vying and urging for more programs, intramurals, sports, facilities, and so on and so forth, access, everything we're talking about tonight. 5-6 years. And in the past couple of months, I attended 2 ad hoc athletic and sports forums. Not even close. We've got so much out of those 2 forums than I've got out of 5-6 years coming down to just about every single Parks and Rec Commission meeting, speaking for my 3 minutes, as well as other people. And it got me to think that, I think we have 2 narratives. We have 2 Oceansides. We have 2 commissions. We have a double standard. We have things that are going on in this community where there's a deaf ear to the neighborhoods of Crown Heights, claimed by the Center Street Gang. Eastside, Ballarama, claimed by Barrio Pasole. Libby Lake area, claimed by Mesa Locals. Deep Valley, claimed by Deep Valley Bloods. John Landis, 3 gangs. Vista Homeboys, Street Villains, Ghost Town, all these groups, 11 gangs in the city. That's where SOS has been since Dan Besson was shot and killed 2006, December 20th. So here we are tonight, talking about an extension of an ad hoc. In the 6 months, sounds like a lot of time, right? There's 3 meetings for the Parks and Rec Commission. It's what they do in between those meetings that makes a lot of sense to us. 2 forums I attended. So I thank you for that. I really appreciate that because the list that was up there with cultural, problem solving, these items that are in your vision and master plan, cultural, where are we with that? About 9 or 10 groups that were on March 2nd were Samoan, Pacific Islanders, Polynesian, complaining, concerned, not getting phone calls back, treated unfairly, permits, no permits, get a permit. It's crazy, and then you talk about cultural and problem solving. Put it in the forums, allow the community to speak, and then let's work together and do that. So I appreciate all of that. Keep that in mind, please. We work together in this community, and it's not a personal thing. It's the seat that is held by directors and people. You swear an oath. You raise your right hand. So when you do that, you're saying something. So it's the seats and it's the benchmark and those things that secure that seat. That's what's precious to everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. Can I please have Sherry Mackin, please?
Good evening. Thank you for letting me speak. Sherry Mackin, 1469 Moreno Street here in lovely Oceanside. Your commission is responsible for oversight. Oversight is a good thing. I support a motion to implement a standing committee. Always good to have more eyes on equity for field and facility use, as well as being part of, and I'm going to repeat that, part of the MOU with Oceanside Unified and others for shared use. Not just a rubber stamp, but part of that. I encourage you to support the motion. I would look forward to seeing that standing committee. Thank you.
Mary Sayal, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Mary. I'm a resident here in Oceanside. The only experience that I can tell you about is when I myself had to fill out an application to have an event here in Oceanside. I was denied 3 times. Now I'm here to tell you or to ask you to please help us help ad hoc committee to get these kids off the street. Give us the fields, give us the time, and give us the city back to the kids. Thank you.
Ken Layton.
Hi, like so many people who have been to city council meetings before over the years, I've seen all these kids, these Pop Warner kids and these Little League kids and these rugby kids showing up, and they say, we don't have a place to play. And it tugs at your heart how awful it is, but nothing ever seemed to get done. So I went to the Melba Bishop meeting last month with your ad hoc committee. And I mean, there were 4 people there from OUSD. There were all these coaches there. And I heard that the meeting the month before was the meeting that really brought up all the good details. And I think it's very interesting that it's almost an accident that this ad hoc committee even happened, but all this stuff is coming out. And Mr. Goodney, you pointed out that there are inconsistencies with what you're being told by the staff and the reality. And the same thing was indicated by the letter from the lady who had to resign. And I just think that it's, there's all sorts of discovery that's happening, and it's a very healthy thing. It's not costing anybody. You don't have to hire an investigator. All this stuff is just coming out. And there seems to be some very serious issues with Coastal Academy and its non-status with the OUSD, and about how all these other people get turned away when they give a $14,000 gift earlier this year of bleachers, and they continue to get all these goodies, meaning bookings at the Junior Seau Beach Community Center. And I just think it's healthy. I was told earlier today that the city manager thinks that at no point is it good to restrict public, output and searching for the truth. And I urge that you continue these very productive ad hoc committee meetings and keep them going. And that's pretty much real basic. It just open up the windows, open up the shades, turn on the lights, and just discuss the reality of why these poor kids are getting screwed out of a chance to play. And what are they doing instead of playing youth sports? God only knows. Anyway, congratulations, Mr. Goodnay, for standing up for this, and keep up the good work. And I urge that you continue the ad hoc committee discovery. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have no more comments for this item.
Okay, let's open this up for discussion. Any questions from those who were not on the ad hoc committee? I think we should start there. Questions? Okay. I attended the April 27th forum, and I think that there was some of the things that have been said here tonight, not that they're not true, but I don't know that there's a full picture of kind of what happened at that meeting. From the public, the comment has, kind of been, like the oversight is good, that there have been like some errors made. I think those are all true. I think what is not being communicated is I don't know that staff was treated respectfully at that meeting. I think Wilson, Commissioner Gonay, you said what's at stake is trust. What was conveyed to me at the April 27th forum was a huge lack of trust in the staff. And the point of this ad hoc committee was to come up with solutions, to come up with things that you were going to implement. And in your report a little while ago, there were no solutions presented. So that's concerning to me, just to continue this for forever when, is that part of what you need more time in order to come up with solutions? Some things have already been implemented, but I'm concerned that no solutions were presented today. And I'm concerned at the huge lack of trust in the staff and how adversarial that meeting became. I was really concerned. I did not see any evidence at all in conflict of interest. I understand the perception. As many people have spoken. There was a perception problem. It didn't look good, but at no point was these two people asked for court time. I don't know no two people asked for court time and they chose to give it to Coastal. That has not happened. I don't think, and I think staff has said that has not happened. At no time was there ever preferential treatment actually shown. And that's concerning to me because a man's character was really, it has happened. That's the basis of this whole thing. So I understand. So thank you, Mayor Sanchez. I understand that has happened in the past. It's still happening. So thank you. So I understand that that's happened in the past. And I think that's what's difficult is that we've heard reports of this happening for the last 40 something years and that there's a huge lack of trust in the city. But it seems like this ad hoc, the point of it was to move forward and it's not happening. And that's concerning to me. Like, I want to know, how can we move forward? Because isn't that the point? Don't we want solutions? Does anyone want this to continue to happen? Like, I know that people are interested in this. I'm hoping to have a conversation up here. I want, like, how can we move forward from this? I know that it's continuing to happen, but the trajectory that we're on isn't forward.
Well,
The trajectory of the ad hoc currently isn't forward.
it's been a tough 6 months.
Speak in your mic, please.
It's been a tough 6 months. Yeah, my mic is on. Okay, it's been a tough 6 months. We started this as just as like the complaints that I heard from the sports rep teams. I wish you would have been at that first forum.
Yeah, I wish I had too.
It was open to the public, but
Right.
you just happened to be down at the Melba Bishop when we had that. We were starting that forum. So I think you were there like 2 days before. And I said, hey, come by and check it out. So what you heard there was nothing compared to what was said at the other one. And like I said in my my statement, it's like what we heard at that forum, it just was way beyond what we thought. So what you heard at that meeting, and a lot of those sports teams that were there at the first one that were complaining, they didn't know Mark and CJ and Daniela were in the back. I actually did not invite them because I wanted to give those representatives a chance to say without any fear of retribution or anything like that. But later on, they were like told that they were there almost at the end of the meeting. So, but they were saying, I don't know who this Mark or CJ or Daniela is, but they never called me back. So a lot of what happened since that first forum to this one that you attended, they weren't there. So they got their permits, they've got rentals, they got, a couple days here and there as a result of us even having that forum. In other words, Mark and them just, meet immediately. So like, for instance, the Rugby Thunder team, yeah, they had a permit request for 12 months and never got anything. So within 12 days after that first forum, they got it. So there was a lot of action that took place just to, take care of those that were at the meeting. Now, the soccer team, we invited all the soccer teams, the baseball teams. Nobody from soccer showed up at that first forum. Why is that? Baseball team, I think one sports team showed up, and they were the Vista Little League baseball team. Wasn't any of the Oceanside National and American League. Why didn't they show up? I have no idea, but they were all invited by Amanda and Janae and Genevieve and myself. But one thing we found out at that last forum you were at was Frank Zimmerman, who is part of SoCal Soccer.
Breakers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So SoCal Soccer, which includes the Breakers, but I didn't know this, and that was part of the park tour that I wanted to finish up. I wanted to go and find out what is going on with El Corazon, because not only is El Corazon not listed on the available fields to be rented or permitted, Mance Buchanan is not on there. And I pointed that out to them in our meeting at the staff. Hey, you don't have Mance Buchanan on here. And they go, oh, wow, oversight. Wow. But on that calendar, that weekly calendar that we're happy that they post that now, they still don't have Mance Buchanan and El Corazon. But what I found out, just by us having this ad hoc committee, and we need to look into that whole situation as far as those 22 soccer fields that are up there, is that his Breakers, they used 3 to 5 fields at a time, and they rotate to the next 3 to 5 fields after the fields that they used they get used and they have to rest. So they're the only sports team up there rotating amongst the 22 soccer fields. And this thing is going to go on till 2040. That is something like, how did that get approved?
But that doesn't come through us. So I think and I understand, I think El Corazon does need to be looked at, but that's not the Parks and Rec. Like what goes on at El Corazon, those fields, it's not part of this. Sure, look at that, but that's not here.
To say something.
Okay.
I'd like to say something. First of all,
Okay, go ahead.
first of all, I take offense to what you just said about our ad hoc committee. Okay? Because I think that we have put a lot of time and effort to get this ad hoc committee going, and including the community and the city. Okay? I think that moving forward, it takes time. Okay? You can't do things just like overnight.
Right.
Okay? And so it takes time first to identify the problem, then try to get a solution for the problem. But with all these fields out there, with all these youth, all these sports teams, you can't do it overnight. Okay.
No, and I'm sorry if that.
So let me finish,
okay.
let me finish.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so, but I do believe that we can't go back. We can't redo what happened before. We cannot correct what happened in the past, yesterday. Yesterday's gone, but we can correct what's going to come up for the future. But we can only do it if we have a good heart, good intentions, and are open-minded. We have to include the city. There are sources. We have to include the park commission. We are part of this community, and we are trying to fix these things. So I believe that everyone needs to step back, take a breath of air, think about this with an open mind and an open heart, and let's work together on this. Let's get all these teams, let's get all these youth involved in this. And the city is our resource. I don't care what you say, the city is still the resource. And I just take offense that you think we didn't do anything, because
No, I didn't say that.
We
I did not say that you didn't do anything. And I stand by that. I did not say you did not do anything. I have said, and I said this at the April 27th meeting, it is now time to be solution oriented. Let's solve this problem. Was your first meeting in February or March? Your first forum?
It was March 2nd.
Okay, so in March 2nd, you had a forum, and then we had another forum on April 27th. And I'm not saying no more forums. I'm just saying, so like, we know there's a problem. That's why this was created. I told you this, Commissioner Godinay. We know that there's a problem. This is why it was created. Let's start solving some of these problems. And my concern is that this ad hoc has lost sight of trying to solve those problems. We've had multiple people who've come to me and said, the point of this ad hoc is to get different staff members fired. That's concerning to me, because that's not going to solve this problem. That is, I'm
Okay.
so sorry that people are saying that. People who are on this ad hoc, who were sitting on this ad hoc, said that they were told from other members of this ad hoc that the goal is to get people fired. I'm sorry if you don't believe that. That is what people have said. That
Okay.
is what has been communicated. So
Wait.
do you understand my concern, and that I don't want it to be,
Wait,
I'm going to ask
hold
that
on.
people, that this is public comment is over. The time for public comment is over, and now it is time for us to discuss.
Okay, did I just hear you say that other ad hoc committee members said that someone on the ad hoc committee said that the goal was to get
That
us
other,
fired?
the ad hoc members and that multiple people have come forward saying that the goal, that they wanted certain staff members fired. And seeing what I saw at the April 27th meeting, that makes me concerned. And even conversations that I've had with you, there have been inappropriate comments made about staff members.
Okay.
And I understand your concern about discrimination, but what I have heard is discrimination towards staff members.
Okay, look.
And
I-
that's concerning.
Okay. As far as I've always saying that staff doesn't get fired. I'm not advocating for people to get fired. I'm looking for someone that you can trust. You can rotate them out and get somebody else in there, whatever. But I'm just, so the thing about solutions, yeah, we've already like influence the staff to start doing things. But one of the comments that I heard after that first ad hoc committee from Mark, after everyone spoke, he stood up and said, I've heard all of this before. And you guys know the deal, that it's league over travel. But I mean, there was no like remorse, nothing like, hey, I just want to apologize on behalf of my staff that, anyone that has been mistreated or hurt by anything or angry about anything, we will do a better job of fixing that. I am appalled. Just as much as I was appalled, that's the way I felt that he should have come across. But from that moment on, then all of a sudden for the next month, 2 months, it's like, hey, let's make deals with everybody and get them permits. That's all reactionary to what has happened. Yeah, there are things that we've already uncovered that, yeah, you need lights at that one field over there off of Oceanside Boulevard. And I mean, there are other things that we have. I mean, it's just not the time to be giving you like a cookie cutter list of this is what we have found and these are the recommendations. This is something that's never been done before. So we're asking you, as you've been on this commission since what, 2018? I've only been on it for a year. So you're trying to, I feel pressured that you're trying to have me like, okay, hurry up and get on with this thing because we got to get back. That's the way I'm feeling. So,
Right. Well, I mean, this was always set for 6 months. I didn't set it for 6 months. The standard ad hoc time is for 6 months. So I'm sorry if that is pressure. I do feel like I just want there to be solutions because we do hear about these problems all the time. I am saying I would like solutions to these problems.
Wait.
Yes, we hear about field I'm going to say all the time.
For years, but nothing is ever done, just like.
And that's what I'm saying. I would like something to be done. I feel like we're on the same page, like Commissioner Godin. We both want solutions. I hope.
And just by.
That's my hope. And my fear is that that's not true.
So just by the reaction from the first forum where I felt that there should have been some contrition by Mark and CJ and them. But from that first forum to now, I mean, they've already their actions and reactions to what we've even done. We've uncovered a lot. So, but there's still a lot more to go. Like I said, what is going on with those 22 soccer fields? I'm just saying that's what a standing committee can do, or an ad hoc committee can do.
I'm going to make a motion.
I just have a question. So given more time, what do we hope to accomplish?
Fair.
And what is the timeline?
Fairness, trust, equity. And we can just go down the
specific. I mean, what are we trying to do? Get more access to more people? I mean, I'd like to see the goals laid out in a clear and concise manner, and I'm not seeing that yet.
Right. And as I told you, that we've lost members of this ad hoc committee, key members also. So we've recently replaced one with Lisa, but I mean, we had 4 to begin with. So, and couple that with some of the things that we've been dealing with in our own personal lives. Yeah, it's tough, but there's no sweat off of anyone else's back right now that isn't on this ad hoc committee, because we only meet every 2 months and we approve things like that. I can't even tell what I'm really approving, like with minutes from last commission meeting. All I'm saying is that, this isn't like, I'm not a professional commission member or ad hoc committee member. I'm just saying things are happening right now. So, as we can get more people on this committee, we can get a little bit more organized and have more professional updates for the commission that meets every 2 months. But we're willing to do this practically every day that we're in the city and working in these communities. I'm doing with Save Our Streets, we do cup stacking just about every weekend at one of the parks. So for instance, this Saturday, we'll be at Balderrama. It's called Kids Play Day. Let the children play day. So we're going to be doing pickleball, cup stacking, all kinds of events. We're going to be barbecuing. I'm just saying, it's like we've got a lot on our plates besides what we're trying to do here as an ad hoc committee. So if you want certain details, I'm sorry, I can't provide you everything that you might be looking for. All I'm saying is just have faith that we're doing what's best for our kids in this community. And like I said at that last forum, it's like I don't recognize this city Parks and Rec department that I grew up in, and then even my kids grew up in. So it seems like we're renting out all of these facilities, gyms, to belly dancing and everything like that, but there's no programs really in these facilities. So just patience, please.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion. I am going to make a motion to extend the ad hoc committee. I would hope that the goal would be to have another forum that is solution oriented. I mean, you obviously can't control what people are saying, but like that we have established as a problem. And that now this next extension would really be solution oriented. That would be my hope. So I make a motion to extend.
I have a question.
Madam Chair, I get any person to ask. That is.
Go ahead, Ms. Russell.
I just wanted to know the difference between the extension or a standing committee. Because I wanted to recommend that we, move this forward. We can address issues and get to solutions, I believe, if we had a standing committee. And that's what I'm asking for.
Madam Chair, I
Yes,
have been in
Commissioner- Yes, Manager Olson.
in consultation with the city attorney, we have been directed that this should be extended. A standing committee would be a different item. I know that's contrary to words that have been spoken this evening, but the consultation with the attorney led to the language on the agenda tonight.
Okay.
So, I mean, this
So-
is the first that
So
I.
you can, so
Okay.
would you like to extend it? Then if we're make a motion, if you would like to make a motion to extend it, then go ahead.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion for a standing committee for this
Does this
ad
need to
hoc
come-
to
does this
move
need to
on
come
to
from
a
Commissioner
standing
Godinez?
committee.
Is that part of this? That does this have to come from the ad hoc?
I don't believe it has to come through. Sometimes
Go ahead,
customary can
Commissioner
be.
Russell. Or-
Let me explain.
No.
one.
I made a motion.
Point of order, Mark.
Yeah.
There was already a motion in process by,
Not seconded.
The
so
commissioner.
Second the motion.
shall we address that first?
That was my question about the extension or a standing committee. That was my question to Calvin.
I'll second the motion for extension of the ad hoc committee
Okay, Marissa, please.
discussion.
Do we need to discuss how long that extension is?
You have a motion and an extension, and you can discuss how long you want it to be.
It seems to me that we have to look at the bigger picture. The end result is that our city council, our elected representatives will pass a new policy that is written through this process we've been talking about all this evening. And that will be a policy supposedly that tries to address all these issues that have been brought up in the fairest way possible. It will not be 100% fair. It doesn't work that way. But that's the end result. Now, how long do we go about discussing the various issues? We've heard a lot of charges back and forth here tonight. And the proposal, the policy that's passed by our electeds will be a result of the activities of the ad hoc committee, and then they bring forward a proposed wording for us as a commission to massage and discuss and decide on what we're going to send to the city council. So there's 3 stages during which wording will be looked at carefully and will be moved along to the end result of that policy that is adopted. Now, what we need as a matter of the commission, or what I want to see at least, and I suspect I'd have 100% agreement up here, is evidence that deals with all these various things that are happening. I mean, the registration for fields, we should be able to get that information. We should be able to get that joint use agreement. We should be able to get a lot of documentary evidence in our hands as a commission as a result of the ad hoc committee's work. So let's just go ahead with that. I would suggest an extension of 6 months. We should be able to wrap this thing up by sometime in our midwinter and come up with a policy that addresses the situation. If it creates more problems that are perceived afterwards, we go through looking at that and see if the policy needs to be restudied. But we've got to come to some fruition, some conclusion at some point. The sooner the better.
Yeah, I'd like to say something.
No, I think we need to vote because he just seconded that. So now we're going to have a call. Oh, vote.
Okay. My assumption was
No,
that
we
the
have
ad.
to vote.
Well,
Because there
is
was a motion and a
discussion
second.
first.
So now we have to.
I have a question.
Oh, what?
We can.
Oh, okay. You can still discuss. Sorry, I thought we had to vote. Go ahead.
Okay, I thought the ad hoc committee was the one in charge of these discussions and stuff as far as the community goes and getting the input and all that. I also believe that we need a standing committee. I believe that standing committee, this is not a 6-month situation here. Another 6 months, then we're going to ask for another 6 months, and then we're going to ask for another 6 months. This is not an easy process, okay? This is not an easy process on the city and on the park commission, okay? But I believe that a standing committee, you have an open forum, you can work at it and not be pressured to know that in 6 months, you gotta get that total there.
Yeah.
And I believe that this is where we need to go, not an extension of an ad hoc committee.
Sorry.
I second what.
You have a
Genevieve
motion
just
and a
said.
second that needs to be voted upon.
Go ahead.
Are we still discussing things?
We're going to vote right now.
State what we're voting on so everyone is clear because there's been a.
You're
it's been
voting
messy.
on a 6-month extension of the ad hoc committee. Okay,
Put the 6 months on there.
with the 6-month extension, Frankham just stated that. So Commissioner Gone, can I please remind the public to be respectful in the chambers, please? Thank you.
Well, I have a question. Are we going to have a vote for the standing committee? This
We
is
have a
just-
motion on the floor. We're voting on that motion. How do you vote? Yes or no?
As far as the extension of.
That's the motion.
ad hoc.
That's the motion.
Okay.
Bring a rock in a hard place, isn't it? I say we go with the extension. That's the only option we have right now.
Can you please vote? Yes or no?
Just vote.
Just
Can you ask somebody else first or,
Just, you have to vote.
all right, no.
Commissioner Russell,
No.
Commissioner Frankham. Vice Chair Herman,
Yes.
Chair Sue,
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
Commissioner Wonder.
No.
It is a 4-3 vote. And it will be an extension of the 6-month of the ad hoc committee.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion for a standing committee for the ad hoc.
And I second it.
Okay. feel like this is a city attorney question.
I mean,
I'm
this might
not.
be, that was not the agenda item that was put forward. So to vote on something that wasn't on the agenda would be improper.
It was not an agenda item.
I think as it,
And
Well, I
you-
think-
And you got.
I think right now it's extended for 6 months. How about in 6 months, we talk about if it needs to be a standing committee? I don't understand what that changes. I don't understand why we need to vote on it becoming a standing committee right now when it's been extended to 6 months.
Because I'm sure the vote's going to come out the same way, right?
I have no idea how you would know that. We're going to move on to items for discussion, informational 4A. Is this Mr. Smith? You're up.
All right. Good evening, Chair, Vice Chair, and Commissioners. It's my pleasure and honor tonight to present to you all the work that has gone into the conceptual plan for Buccaneer Park. I do have a lengthy presentation. I'll try to go as quickly as possible. However, stop me at any time with any questions that you may have. Some of your questions may be answered as we move forward, but again, feel free to stop me during the presentation. See if we can get to the beginning of this. Can we get to the beginning of the presentation? There we go. All right, bear with me here. Perfect. Thank you, Andy. Let's see. Okay. All right, bear with me here. We're going to have to operate this thing a little differently. All right, moving on here. Let's see. Oh, this is touchy. All right. We began this process over a year, almost a year ago. And during that time, we've had 4 workshops. The first workshop was July 10th at the park. We had a great turnout. We had about 120 people attend. And out of that 120 people, 100 people provided survey comments. They actually filled out the surveys there and left them for us. And at the same time, we had boards where park users were able to make comments right on the boards on what they thought about the park, what needed to be done. That was the foundation that took us through the next series of workshops. The second workshop was on July 22nd. That was at the farmer's market. We had a lot of attendance there. We made contact with about 100 residents, and there we had about 150 surveys submitted. Workshop 3 was at the community rooms at the library. That was on January 27th. We had a smaller turnout there, which lends to the fact that we've outreach to a lot of people and people have felt that they've been listened to. That I believe that. We also had a workshop at the council chambers here just a couple of weeks ago. It wasn't that heavily attended, and I was a little concerned that our outreach that the consultant had done for that meeting wasn't adequate. So we did go out and we notified the public that we would be here tonight making this presentation, hoping that anybody that felt that wanted to say something else about this concept plan, they could come up here and do that. Also, the survey is still open, and we have had a total of 331 surveys turned in. So at this point, we have a lot of input, and additional input is just reinforcing what I'm going to be presenting to you tonight here. So moving on, this is an example of the survey that was put out to the public on the 2 conceptual plans for the park. This is concept plan 1, which is labeled the Buccaneer theme. And this theme was derived from the earlier input from the community that established these 2 conceptual plans. This is concept 2, which was named the beach theme. What I'm going to do right now is just go over the questions in the survey and review the input that we received from the community so you can better understand why we're looking at this final concept plan. So for concept plan 1, to rate the overall park design, 74 responses were in favor of the concept 1, where 45 were in favor of concept 2. And a majority, we also had a majority of input that did not like concept 2. So the blue is related to concept 2, the red is related to concept 1. Some of the comments were to the concept 1 keeps the park as is with needed refresh on the existing improvements, buffers, positive comments, buffers, and buffers lawn and playground from streets. Question 2, rate the design and location of the parking lot. Parking lot is a very hot topic. Making sure that we have enough parking, that we're not taking parking away, and various comments on the parking lot. So the parking lot is staying the same with the proposed concept 1, as you can see. That is the preferred. Some of the comments to the parking lot is that the parking lot acts as a buffer between the beach access. Parking lot takes up valuable park space with ocean views. However, we balanced the comments to come up with the design of the parking lot of basically leaving it as it is, making sure that we don't lose any parking spaces. Please rate the design and location of the restroom building. So the concept 1 location for the restroom is the preferred design. And I'll go over the plan to show that location. Concept 2, the comments were that the restroom was too far from the facilities. So. All right, design and location of the multi-use lawn. The lawn is very much favored in the park. It's extremely used. And so there was a lot of discussion about the lawn, not losing any of it, keeping it as is. And concept 1 reflects that. And you can see some of this, it pretty much is keep the lawn where it is. Rate the design and location of the playground. A lot of input here. Concept 1 is heavily favored over concept 2. Playground is buffered from the street for better safety in concept 1. Rate the design and location of the outdoor exercise stations. That was received very well by the community. Concept 1 was favored, and I'll get into some more detail on the exercise equipment there. The exercise equipment is yes. Pardon?
Did you say we could ask questions during the presentation or do you want them all at the end? Or do you care?
I could answer any questions you have.
Okay, okay, sorry. I thought you said you wanted them as we went along. The playground slide that you just talked about.
Yes.
Was it mostly the location that people liked or is it the theme or are you able to kind of just?
Yeah, they
that out?
like the location as well as the type of equipment that was being provided.
Okay,
It's something that's not provided now, and it gives a wider use to the community of the park facility. And I apologize, there's a lot to talk about before you actually see the plan. I'll
Yeah.
get to that.
No,
when we
that's
can- I'm just trying to give you a flavor as to how much input there was to all the amenities that make up concept plan 1. All right. Let's go the right way this time. I'm going to jump to actually, I should back up to 11. Okay, basketball court, another loved amenity in the park. There was a lot of discussion, keep it half court, make it full court. You can see how close the ratings were on this, 58-40. We went ahead for concept 1 to show a full basketball court. Again, that's something that can be adjusted, but the full court was favored. Apologize. Another favorite is the shade structure in the plaza. Again, very, very close between the two conceptual plans. However, concept 1 was favored. And the concept 2 was looked at as being a little too small and too close to the restroom in one case. Please rate the picnic areas. Now, the seating in the picnic areas, it's open to all the community. You'll see some labels in here that refer to cafe seating. The seating is for anyone in the park. I take responsibility. That should not, the labeling should not have been for the cafe. The seating is for anybody in the park. It's just the proximity of the seating where it is now. It's referred to as cafe seating because that's the closest place to the cafe. And that's where everyone winds up sitting. So it was labeled as such, but that's not the case. There is no specific seating for the cafe. I hear a comment back there. All right, here we get into the concept plan. This is the preferred concept plan that incorporates all the items that I just reviewed. I apologize, it's a little small on the screen there, but you can see some of the items that we were talking about. Specifically, the question was for the exercise station, which if I can point it out here, you can see it's just
Number 14.
it's item 15 there. It's an expanded area with the which is adjacent to the playground equipment. So what's going to be different with the playground equipment here is there's going to be a range of ages that the playground equipment is designed for. 2 to 5-year-olds and 5 to 12-year-old play areas, as well as the exercise areas that are for the adults. So you can see the gray area, I apologize, but number 14 is where the adult exercise area is going to be. Okay. Some of the other improvements that I didn't highlight in my earlier presentation is the fact that the walkway around the park, within the park, has been expanded from 5 feet to 10 feet. And there's a walking, you have a walking surface all the way around the park now. And it's wide enough to accommodate all users. Okay. This diagram here is basically what I was just explaining to you about the circulation, the sidewalk, and also the improved circulation for the parking lot. There's going to be 2 ways in and out of the parking lot, which will facilitate the use there, eliminate some of the conflicts that occur. Excuse me, and this is a rendering of what the lighting is going to look like. There's a significant improvement on the lighting design that will enhance the lighting within the park. That was one of the big comments that we received during feedback from the community was poor lighting. Okay. This is the layout of the restroom. The wash stations are on the exterior wall of the restroom, while the stalls are independent and they have doors which are elevated. This design, this floor plan is similar to what we have in our other beach restrooms. This also has adjacent to it a storage area for the maintenance equipment that is currently housed in the existing maintenance building that's going to be removed once these improvements are installed. This is a rendering and elevation of the restroom. This is the Buccaneer theme. The maximum height is 21 feet, 6 inches. That's at the peak. These are some of the materials that are being used in the construction of the park, which are nautical and beach themed. This is just an example of the type of furniture that we're looking at. Again, these are just ideas here, as well as the play equipment. So with that, I turn it over to you folks to answer any questions that you have that I can elaborate on. And
I have some questions.
I believe we have public comment first.
Oh, go ahead.
Can I please have Sherry Mackindown? And remember, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you, commissioners. Hang on here. Can't find my talking points. All right. I attended a meeting April 24th, I believe it was, here in Chambers to review this concept and go through this process. I was handed this, the handout after the meeting was over, and it's a survey. And in the legend, it shows the fixed cafe seating as number 1 in the survey. I pointed that out because I had huge concerns with public parkland going into the hands of, out of the hands of the public, especially, I can't show anything up here, right? Especially losing that view corridor. He's got his,
I think you can.
which one? Room. Okay. Okay. So as you see, legend shows the cafe seating. My concern is this area is open. It always has been to the public. Well, the cafe, when this whole process started out, when they put it on, again, say, whoa, what about the public? well, it's for better use for the cafe. This area is in the amphitheater, and we were told it's going to be, yeah, some little pickup groups or whatever, but the cafe will pretty much run that too. If you'll notice, the view corridor is from the creek over here, over to the huge house over here on the beach. Now, this area 3 and 4 was slated for public seating of sorts, random chairs or benches. Now, if you sit here and this area is closed off to the general public, you're missing out on the view corridor because we have the little seat walls up there and you cannot see over it when you're sitting down.
Use the mic because I guess there's people viewing it who want to hear you and they can't. If you don't
I'm
use
sorry, what?
just use the mic. I guess there's people viewing it and they can't hear you if you
You
don't use the
can't
mic.
hear me?
I can, but
Oh, I was gonna say, I've never had a problem. Oh, okay. So anyway, as you can see, the view corridor would be captured by those at the cafe and not regular people that go to the park. You know, I've attended paddle outs there in that area. Little barbecues have been set up. It's a very special area. I don't mind sharing our parkland with anyone, but I don't want to give it to anyone either. So that leaves me with this huge concern about this being posted on the city's website, right? And so when we get down to nitty gritty and all, it's what's in writing, not what's said. So this needs to be changed, in my opinion, and I will follow this to the Coastal Commission to make sure our public areas stay public. One other thing, let's get a clarification on the cafe amphitheater from Mr. Smith. And finally, I don't want a big trash heap dumpster at number 5. Driving into our park and having a dumpster there. Currently, it's over by the palm trees and you won't smell it or see it. But golly, move the public over there to that area, put a stinky dumpster there and take their view away. We need some work. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Colleen Balch, can you please come down?
Colleen Balch. I live in South O, and I've attended many meetings with Jonathan and Sherry and a few others of us that represent South O. And I have one comment to make about city staff. We have at least 5 projects going on that have to do with Buccaneer Park. I personally have been involved with meetings with Mark and many other city staff members in the last 4, maybe 5 years, asking for all those 5 projects to be put into one map so we can see how they all interact. Not happened. So there's another example of the public not being reacted to by staff. Okay, so my comment tonight is based again on what is written in what's on the city's website. We have a basketball court. We have very few of those available to the public, very few. And it's /pickleball. Pickleball needs to be taken off of that description completely. There is no room for pickleball right now at this park. And if we want to put pickleball somewhere, when we acquire La Salina, which hopefully we will when it's decommissioned, we can put it up there. Thank you very much for your time.
Diane Welke.
Okay.
Good evening again. I wanted to speak to you tonight about the surface choices for this park and all of our parks. This is at Luiseno Park at 4 o'clock in the afternoon last June when the ambient temperature was 84 degrees. The grass was 83. My neighbor's plastic grass was over 148. The asphalt was cooler than the pour-in-place surface mat. These surfaces are made out of used tire crumb. They may be covered over with another rubberized surface, but they incorporate used tire crumb. There have been myriad recent studies that have shown the number of toxic and carcinogenic chemicals in used tire crumb. Nobody's going to let their kids go out and play in stacks of used tires, for heaven's sakes. We all know better. They have found up to 355 chemicals in these things, most of which are toxic and carcinogenic. If you use natural rubber, that's latex. Then you're looking at an increase of latex allergies. These things collect a lot of dust. They contain an awful amount of lead, far over and above and beyond, which is considered safe. There is no safe level of lead per the CDC and other organizations. And yes, this is coming under regulation by the California Department of Toxic Substance Control. I spent my entire summer, last summer, writing 3 public comment letters to the state. They will be regulating these. Unfortunately, this all came to light because as an emergency measure, because the toxins in these fields and from car tires is causing an amazing environmental catastrophe. It's harming wildlife, and importantly for DTSC and others, it's killing aquatic organisms. These chemicals like PFAS bioaccumulate in your body. They don't go away, and they can be passed in between generations, okay? So I would ask for you to consider different surfaces. Sand, of course, is always an option at beaches. That's where we go to playgrounds when the grandkids are in town. Natural playgrounds stimulate the imagination. Of course, natural grass always is a benefit for the climate as well as for people. It's better for mental health as well as other myriad features. Excuse me. There is a new material that I'm not endorsing, but the city may want to invest some money into researching. It's a cork material that has polyurethane base and a surface cover. It does come from other countries where they are likely to have significant pesticide issues. So that would be one of the things that I think it should be tested for, as well as PFAS, because we're fighting PFAS in trees, pine needles, and everywhere. Thank you.
Joan Bachman.
Hello, Commissioners. Joan Bachman, longtime coastal resident. I'm also involved in the El Corazon, so I do what you do for El Corazon. So I can talk about that later if you let me. We've not been getting good design on a number of things in the city. Fire station number 1 has a tutu around the top because they misunderstood Irvingale. Park 1 on El Corazon was a fiasco. We're now working on the new version of that. And this park, I'm the consultant and staff. I know they're professionals, they're capable, but somewhere there's some reins on people because we're not really designing. I'm sure all of you have one of these of some form. You grew up with something, you poked the numbers on, you were tied to the wall, maybe with a cord or maybe with a thing you couldn't take down the block or in your car, but still you got this. That's because when they listened to what people wanted and all that, they didn't design that. They designed what it should be. And what I'm seeing is a whole lot of opinions and a park coming out that is missing the point. And I'm very concerned about this. So I'd rather see better design. And let's talk about what is a park. You may have seen when I put up the picture of El Corazon, it says El Corazon, it says park, 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 because we forget it's a park. Like in here, park, 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 park. I'll bring that in. I couldn't find it. But anyway, I'm concerned that the design is really kind of a regurgitation of a bunch of people who are not park designers. And adult workout next to children, creepy. Anyway, I need to see the following things. I do have solutions. First, you connect the park to the beach by putting all of the open space on the west, right there. This is perfectly safe because we're going to slow down traffic. We're going to put people first. And people zooming by on Pacific, sorry, if you want to go west of 5, you need to go slowly. And we need to do this completely with all of our neighborhoods west of 5. So Irvingale inspired architecture tells you what beach you're at. I think the other bathrooms are a mistake. They're beautiful, but they're a mistake. Is it Huntington Beach? Is it Solana Beach? I don't know where I am, but we had an example right there at the pier and we haven't followed it. And so we really need Irving Gill architecture because that says you're in Oceanside and you're at an Oceanside public thing. The bike path is leading the way. Okay, it's coming off of Myers. Okay, so if we leave the parking lot where it is, someday they're going to clamor for more parking. Are we going to put a parking structure right there and block all the views to the beach? Also, talk about unsafe. Walking through that parking lot is what's unsafe, walking to the beach. Let's make Pacific safe and put the parking lot in the back. And we got to plan for future parking needs. I hope you can let me finish this. Because as we need future needs, if you came off of Myers for the top and in for the bottom, you can double that parking lot without affecting the park. Also, La Salina is going away. Is that going to be a parking lot? I have seen things where it's a parking lot. None of that should be a parking lot. But if you leave this parking lot in the front, it will be a parking lot.
Thank you.
So we can't have that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bachman.
Mayor Esther Sanchez.
Thank you. I understand this is for informational, but I do believe and I'm advised that this park will actually be within the appealable area of the Coastal Commission. And one of the things that is very critical is public parkland. So it's going to be very important for you when you finally do look at this, and I believe you may be making a recommendation, to make sure that it is the priorities are about the public and the public uses. The city does have a contract for businesses there, which is a food business. But that's not the priority, it is the public. So in terms of ensuring that the public is able to see it's just like a scenic route there, to see the ocean and also prioritize access to the public. As you know, where the Tin Fish is, that is also a public plaza. And when the Tin Fish originally tried to, block off a place where the chairs and the tables could be just for the business, the Coastal Commission came in and said, no, you can't do that. He even tried to put a banner on top saying Tin Fish. And I think I was actually on the Coastal Commission when I heard from staff saying, did you know this? And I said, no, because I hadn't seen it. And that was taken down immediately. So please understand that this is, again, a parkland. And yes, it's been very frustrating to have five plans here. And to understand now that, in fact, the La Salina treatment plant will take even longer, possibly 5 to 7 years, is frustrating, right? The reason why they're all out, different timelines is because some of them have grants, and the grants came in with different timelines. So, so some of it is, completely without, not in the control of the staff or the city. But there could be a way, I think, if we could just try to see, what are the basic outlines of, what is hopefully to be the actual first kind of parkland for South O. As Marshall Street Pool has a little park. It's a teeny tiny park, right? This is actually going to be the park for South O residents and not have to go, driving, really far just to get to a park so the kids can play. So those are my comments. I just wanted to make sure that you all know that the Coastal Commission does reserve ultimate decision on this. And so I do hope you ask those questions about parkland. And I did want to also say, Member Godney, that you were correct. The actual what do I say? The minutes are very general. And in fact, if there's a distinction between what was recorded by video and the minutes, it's the minutes are trumped by the actual official record, which is the video. So you can see the video that actually takes precedent over any, very general minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is that all the public comment? Okay. Let's invite Mr. Smith back up and let's ask any questions we have. Commissioner Herman.
I have a couple of questions. With regard to parking, what were the number of spaces differential between concept 1 and concept 2?
Commissioner Herman, please speak in your mic. Thank you.
Regarding parking versus in concept 1 versus concept 2, how many spaces were available in each option?
So the parking lot design was fixed to keep exactly the amount of parking that is there now. We could not lose any parking spaces in our design. So it has the same amount of parking spaces as what exists now with the some enhancements in the paving and the striping and the lighting.
All right. Because it just looked, just from the small picture, that concept 2 had fewer spaces than concept 1.
Concept 2 is deceiving, but no, it had the same amount of spaces.
Okay.
Is there a way to move the parking back? Because it looks like it is right in the view of the ocean, the same as the seating area and everything.
So concept 2 was exactly that, having the parking lot in the back is what we originally looked at. And
would you mind putting that one back up?
Sure.
Concept 2, please.
Let me make sure I have that here. Yeah, here it is here. Can we get that back up, Andy?
Thank you.
All right. Let me just back up here. There, but apologize, maybe a little small. There's that was concept 2 with the parking lot adjacent to the coastal rail trail and the tracks there.
So this isn't a done deal, right? These are just diagrams and you're still getting opinion?
Correct. What I'm showing you tonight is from the input of the community, what they are favoring. And that is concept 1. But we do have 2 concepts that we put together based on some of the ideas that you're talking about here, is putting the park adjacent to the view corridor and taking advantage of the location of the beach as a continuation of the park.
I like the parking lot in the back and I like a full basketball court. So, I mean, that's some of 1, some of 2.
Right. Yeah. So.
I feel the same way about that.
Pardon?
There's a full court basketball. It's kind of small, but you can still run a full court game there. But yeah, I could see a full court. I would rather see a full court than a half court. But the parking lot in the back seems to make more sense to me. But
okay,
I think the concern I think a lot of people were concerned about having the playground so close to the street in number 2. So that's just something to consider. I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but like in 2, then the playground is right next to that street. And I like what Ms. Bachman said about, slowing it down or, changing it. But I think that, Pacific as it is, I can understand why that would be a concern.
I think the current playground, isn't that close to where it is showing up here in concept 2 as well? I'm sorry, concept 1.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I think it's in close to the same place that it currently is.
right.
Mhm.
Did you understand that, Mr. Smith? He was saying that where the playground is currently is similar to the number 1.
right, that I pulled up concept
Okay, gotcha.
1. The location, you're right. It's close to where it exists now. And there was a lot of discussion on the location. Thinking ahead, if a child were to run away very quickly, how far could they get and what could they get into? That was taken into consideration of picking this location here versus.
And I'll just point out there is an elevation change between Morse Street and the current recreation, the playground area. So the child would have to run up a hill in order to get to the street. And there are a lot of bushes there. I was just there 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So.
that's one of the reasons why we're taking advantage of this area.
I mean, this is not one or two, so I understand that this could be an obnoxious like thought. Is there a way to put parking along Morse and have the playground in the field kind of more along the Loma Alta Creek? So then you kind of get the best of both worlds. Because I mean, yeah, putting the parking lot closer to the view seems tough.
I'd rather have the basketball court more towards Morse and the playground more towards Loma Alta.
So I totally understand that comment. And again, we've been talking about this for a year and we've talked about these exact items. I think what could be helpful, Mr. Olson, if I do supply the commission with the survey information, you can look at the surveys yourself, see some of the answers. And if it's at the commission's pleasure, I can come back and address any questions that you have after you have had the opportunity to take a look at some of that additional information. But exactly what you're talking about is what we spoke about in our meetings and the information that we got back from the community.
Two, in my use of this park and my involvement in the community, the number one thing I hear about people not being involved or engaged at this park is unintended users. They don't feel safe, that there are people there that they don't feel safe being around. So in the design, my only concern would be the location of the bathroom seems to block some visibility, creating an opportunity for unintended users to kind of be in that gazebo space. And that's where there currently is like a large activity. So I would just want that to be thought of. And then the second thing is trying to get kids in and out of bathing suits in a tiny bathing suit stall sounds like a circle of hell that no one should have to live through. So just to make sure that those bathroom stalls are large enough for families to be in and, you know, figuring out. So those are just very specific considerations. And I have filled out the survey. So if you see that, you can think of me because I am concerned about changing bathrooms. So thank you.
There were a few comments along those lines,
Great.
not only from mothers, but from fathers too.
Great. Maybe my husband. Thank you.
Right.
I had a question about what Joan Bachman had brought up. She said something about you can maybe go another level of parking. What design was that?
In the future, so maybe we take a moment and talk about the future of this area. As the mayor had pointed out, on the north side of the slough is the wastewater treatment plant, which will be decommissioned in the next 5 to 7 years. That area has not been designated for any other improvements. That may be an opportunity to take a look at what we're talking about here, what the community is looking for here on the south side. It may be something that you want to consider on the north side. So I'm just throwing it out there. That's some of the discussion that we had in the community. There was concern that it was already decided upon what was going to take place there, but I assured everyone, as I was told by the leaders in City Hall, that nothing has been decided upon for that site, that it will be done in a public forum. And I believe this information gives you the opportunity to look at ideas of what can be done on the other side there. Parking is something that was talked about, but it has to be done correctly so you don't create a worse situation. And that's what the community, that's what I heard loud and clear from the community addressing Colleen's comment is that, hey, there's a lot going on here. How come there's not a master plan? How come there's not a larger plan to show what's going on here? And I promised that in the beginning and I fell through on that promise. I'm looking for an opportunity to be able to get additional funds to put something together. I am working together with other staff members. We have the Coastal Rail Trail, we have the wastewater decommissioning, and we have the creek restoration project. They're all separate projects, but we're looking to get that on one plan. So it can be helpful for everybody to see what's going on and then also talk about other ideas before it's actually constructed. Hey, maybe it's a better idea to do this or do that. So that's something that I will make sure happens, even if I have to color it in myself.
I just wanted to say I definitely support that, except we also have to realize that once it's on paper, it tends to be seen by most observers as decided. And so we have to make sure that it's labeled clearly as conceptual and that all your ideas are still invited. I've seen this hundreds of times. I've served on boards, committees, and commissions of this sort for 30 plus years. And once it's on paper, it's going to be seen by many as this is the plan. So that's what we're hearing tonight.
And I totally understand that comment. And I've been doing this myself for a long time. I started out as an assistant engineer and I retired as a director of public works and city engineer. And throughout my community meetings on any of my projects, the hardest thing for me to convince the public was, oh, it's on paper, you're already going to do that. And I totally understand that comment, but I always in my community meetings say, this is your time to give input. Your voice matters. Unfortunately, there have been projects where the community was shown, okay, this is what we're building, and we go out and build it. But we tried not to do that here, and that was the direction that I was given, that you got to listen to the community.
I'm not faulting anyone. I'm just saying that that's one of the conceptions that happens. The other thing is the speaker wanted to see all the projects listed and shown graphically in one view, which has its own value. There's no question about that either. So it can go one way or the other. I wanted to point out that there are, as she mentioned, 5 projects. I know of 4. I was in on that planning session for the creek, what's going to be done with the creek restoration project, which is very interesting. And that could be shown on the results of that session could be shown on the graphic that you're planning to put together. I think that the rail trail is always shown on this project as adjacent to the rails and the park, but it isn't really clear how it's going to mesh with the park improvements. I think we can probably show that a little better. I wanted to point out that the La Salina plant, I think there's going to be huge interest in our community in what happens to that land after it's decommissioned, and it's already starting, which I think is an extremely healthy thing. We need to be making some decisions about that. One thing I would like to suggest as a decision is that no matter what happens, it is absolutely retained as a park. It is not to be even thought of as bait for developers. We always have our problem with inadequate housing. We need more housing. No question about that. We have state mandated housing goals that we never seem to quite measure up to. But the phrase is South O is woefully underparked. We can't let that go. I want to make sure everybody hears that. And let's see, I had a couple of observations I'd like to make. Has any consideration being given to using the cafe space and maybe extending a second floor? The roof could be a patio area, and that could be cafe seating or seating. And then extend that roof back out beyond in concept 2 that we're looking at here to the right of the numeral 2, so that you create some at-grade shade also. And I wanted to bring that up as a possibility. Speaking of at-grade, I also wanted to make the observation, because I work on the Bikeway Pedestrian Advisory Committee to our city council, and the one reality about structured parking is that the average in California right now, the average at-grade parking space costs on the order of $10,000. That's those spaces that you see illustrated on this graphic in front of you. If you build a structured parking facility, the average parking space cost is north of $50,000. It's an extremely expensive proposition. I also wanted to throw that in the mix here. And the other thought I had was the possibility of an art project of some kind, I'd like to see some kind of interactive art project, possibly near the playground that could be usable by children and the public alike, and have some artistic aspect to it rather than just a park that's made like traditional parks. I think we can expand our thinking in that direction a little bit. A lot of it.
Understood.
I have a question about funding. I heard that only the bathroom was funded.
That's correct. At this point, there's funding for the restroom. Once we finalize the plan that we'd like to move forward with, then we'll take a look and see what that cost is. There are a lot of opportunities for grants for parks. That would have to be the next thing that would have to be the next item to tackle, is how to phase these improvements.
Okay. And I think you listed some, but could you list all the agencies that are involved currently at this space? Maybe that's a combo question between you and Mr. Olson.
I'm sorry, as far as
like this space. So we know there's all these different projects, coastal.
Oh, yes, sure. So of course we have the Buccaneer Park project. Just adjacent to the east, there's the Coastal Rail Trail. To the north is the Loma Alta Creek revegetation or revitalization project. And then north of that is the wastewater treatment plant decommissioning.
Okay. And each of those probably has its own like agencies or things that are involved in that. So it's not, those are the projects, but then there's agencies and commissions.
Yeah,
and
there's
departments involved in each of those.
Correct. So you have engineering, you have parks, you have public works, water utilities, also police and fire we interact with to make sure that access for emergency vehicles is in the design. And yes, the Coastal Commission. The Army Corps.
Wow. Okay.
And
transportation or anything because of the trail, anything with the train track being right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Pardon?
County Transit District for the
Yes.
portion as we get near the
Yep.
railway.
Yeah. So there are a lot of agencies that we're coordinating with all the projects. And it's important that we provide consistent information.
Is that all?
As far as the pickleball court, I mean, I'm a pickleball player, but it's kind of a small park to even put in one court there. It's almost like, it's never going to get, I mean, it'll be used quite often to where it's like, you got to wait in line, but like, so.
Yeah, that's probably something that we should have left off. of this. I'll look back and see what kind of comments we got on that. But yeah, there was earlier discussion and then it was decided upon not to have it. I lost track of that, so.
Because that might open up the full court basketball on this, this design number 2, concept 2.
Yeah,
I think concept 1 is winning. And that's the one with the full court basketball.
Yeah, let's go back to that one real quick. So that's a preference right now by the community, is this one here.
They're good with the parking lot being in the front, basically, where it is now.
That was preferred.
With those enhancements, with the changes that are made with the two-way access, yes.
I like the two-way access.
Somebody mentioned the design of the bathroom being more urban. Is this set, this football looking Buccaneer or something?
These are recommendations at this point, right? This has been driven by the community. Additional comments from policymakers and decision makers we can take in and then have another open discussion. What you have in front of you is a conceptual plan that hasn't been done, you know, in a building someplace behind 4 walls. And hey, this is what we're going to build. This is a design to someone's comment that incorporates a lot of community input, people that are not professionals. However, they were guided by a professional. They were guided by KTUA, who is they did the overall master plan for our parks. As you know, they're very knowledgeable of our parks and they're knowledgeable of this park, and they did help guide the discussion. So
I have 2 more questions. What is the preferred timeline on completion for this project?
So the timeline right now is on the restroom. And the goal is to get the restroom constructed within the next 2 years. That does have some challenges because there's some grading that needs to take place. We need to have further discussions on how to accomplish that timeframe for the restrooms.
In the restroom in concept 1 and concept 2 are slightly different locations, right? So don't we need to choose the preferred design before we decide where we're going to put the restrooms?
Well, what we're talking about is the Buccaneer design, and the location is adjacent to the parking lot that's shown on number 8 there. That's the location that we're talking about.
All right.
Will that be going into the basketball court? As where the basketball court is right now?
That's the approximate location. That's correct. At a higher elevation.
And the other question is probably for Mark. With regard to the cafe, what is the current arrangement with the people that are running it now? Is it a 5-year lease, or what kind of a term do they have?
Commissioner Herman, members of the commission, it is a multi-year agreement. I don't know the specifics that is handled in the property management division, but it usually is a multi-year contract with some renewals. I can report back to the commission what the status of that contract is.
And do the funds come, I assume the city gets money for letting them operate. Does that come back to the Parks Department or just into the regular city coffers?
It generally goes back into the general fund based upon the rent, but there is a rent agreement that property management utilizes, whether it's a per square footage or per facility. That's dependent upon the individual operator, but I can certainly provide that information to the members of the commission for consideration.
Thank you.
Is that it? Any other comments? Okay, thank you so much.
Good
Thank you.
job,
Yes.
Jonathan. Thank you.
Thank you for answering
the
all of our
opportunity.
questions.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
All right, let's welcome Mr. Olson.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, members of the commission. It's good to be before you this evening. As always, Mark Olson, Parks and Recreation Division Manager, here this evening for the division report for the Parks and Recreation Division. So I have thrown some pictures up there just because most of the things I'm going to be talking about are project-based. I'd like to give you an update so you can see where we are with things. So first and foremost, pickleball has obviously been a hot topic at our meetings for a couple of years now, and the long-awaited pickleball additions at Melba Bishop Community Park are nearing completion. We anticipate there's a picture just taken at the end of last week. You'll notice the courts are completed with the concrete. The fencing is up. The DG material has been added, compacted, and graded, and we are looking forward to surfacing of the courts, I believe, this week. So we are nearing the end of this process. That was a long time goal for many people, especially a former member of our commission. And so we're happy to have this concluded and open it to the public. As Commissioner Godinez can attest, it's a very popular activity, and we're happy that we're able to provide more access to members of our community. Again, we anticipate that being done. We're hopeful it will be done by Memorial Day, but certainly by the Mance Buchanan Field lights. Again, field's obviously a very hot topic here, and we've been trying for quite some time to add access. This will be one key in doing that. You'll notice the northern portion of the fields that are is kind of surrounded in the red line. Those fields, which are currently not lit, it represents 2 and about a 3/4 full-size fields. So obviously many more fields if you shrink the fields down for smaller individual play. Those will be lit. The project is anticipated to start in July and be ready for use in the first or second week of August. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule. I know it's been a long time coming, but we'll get that in place for the fall sports and be ready for this next winter season, extending playability time by several hundred hours per year. So we're very excited about that process. And again, all the latest technology. This will be the second project we have in the city using LED field light technology, which really concentrates the light onto the playing surface and avoiding what we like to call light pollution. So very excited to see that come into play, and that's moving forward very, very quickly. The beach improvement project. You've had several presentations here as well as questions. Again, after a long process nearing completion, we are being told at the end of June or the first part of July, but we're hoping it's the former. It will be completed, but you'll see some pictures there. Those are the restrooms there on the top 2 photos. And then an aerial picture from Pacific Street. You can kind of see the maintenance warehouse or the maintenance building that our operations facility personnel will operate out of. So again, nearing completion, a lot of activity down at the coast. And we're happy to see that this one is coming to a conclusion and will be available for use here for the summertime. And as this one wraps up, the phase 2 of beach improvement project is currently underway and we'll be going to the option development phase. Just wanted to make a note that this meeting is next Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. in the library community rooms. We invite everyone. It's open to the public, but I want to make sure our commission members know that's where the consultant and the staff will be able to hear public input and start to develop the options for the second phase of what the improvements to the beachfront area will look like. So I want to make sure you're aware of that. So those are the projects that are currently ongoing right now that we're giving you an update on. Our next one that's in the works, I mentioned it the last time we had completed the Marshall Street improvement. We are getting ready to start the RFP process for Brook Street Swim Center improvements. This will be a little bit larger of a project encompassing not only the plaster like we did at Marshall Street, but also the pool deck and some of the mechanical equipment to ensure that this facility remains operational and available to the public for many, many more years to come. And we're grateful for our council's funding as well as some fortunate grant funding that we were able to acquire through our county partners, and we should be able to bring this on. We hope this project will start this winter, and we anticipate it being a several-month closure, but we're optimistic we can be ready to go by the spring of 2023. Just a few upcoming events. Our Movie in the Park series is going to launch. We've had one down at the pier back in March, and we'll be bringing several movies to the parks, the different various parks throughout the city. We hope to expand this over the years, but our initial launch will be 4 parks, including Mass Buchanan Park, John Landis Recreation Park, or John Landis Park. The Junior Seau Pier Amphitheater will also host one. And I think the Wagner Aquatic Center will also host one for what we call a swim and movie. So we're very excited to bring these to the community and hopefully expand this in the years to come. Just a couple of updates as it's been mentioned around here. You'll notice if you head down to the Junior Seau Beach Community Center, there's some new signage displaying our open play. So we obviously have badminton, volleyball. We are looking forward to bringing some dodgeball tournaments and activities down there, pickleball, basketball, and you'll notice table tennis has become quite popular. So we encourage you to go to our website, look at our open play, and come down and join the open play activity that's taking place there. It's really been a great addition to the operations down there. A couple of new things that are going on in Parks and Recreation. Our activity guides are out and available. The one on the left was our summer camps our summer camps guide. We generally do this one in early April so that parents that want to register for camps and use that for their daycare purposes can plan and get things squared away. And then just last week, we launched our summer program guide, which will include all the traditional programs like dance, ballet, taekwondo, things that we do on a year-round basis. But also the highly anticipated, as Chair Sue is very familiar with, is our swim lesson program. So we will have a larger swim lesson program than the city of Oceanside has ever had in the past, with hundreds of classes at all 3 facilities: Marshall Street Swim Center, Brook Street Swim Center, and the new William A. Wagner Aquatic Center. So registration opens tomorrow at 8 a.m. for those who are interested. Children learn to swim classes and adult learn to swim classes for all who might be interested. So we're very excited and anticipate a very busy summer, but we are preparing frantically to make sure staff is prepared, trained, and ready to offer these wonderful programs to the community. A couple other things with our guides I wanted to highlight is that, as mentioned, John Landis Park, we will be bringing our sensational camp. We traditionally have had these camps at the Joe Balderrama Park, as well as the Melvin Bishop Recreation Center. We'll be expanding this year for the first time, thanks to the City Council's approval of some funding, to John Landis. It's a community we're very excited to go back and offer programming in. And most of our camps at this point are about 80% full on average. There are several camps that are completely full in terms of the weeks, and we anticipate most of those. We generally operate in the 95% capacity for our camp program throughout the city. So again, we're excited to be able to expand these programs and take it to different parts of the community, not just with the programming for our camps, but also events like our movies that we hope to bring to members of the community in their community, not just in the city. So we're looking forward to going in their neighborhoods, in their parks, to be with them and to celebrate this summer. A couple other things, just staffing. Obviously, we still have staffing shortages, but we will be bringing on a new supervisor to fill a vacancy we had in aquatics, which will be very important as we head into the very busy summer season. That individual will be starting shortly, and we're excited to get a little bit extra help. And lastly, it was mentioned in the beginning of the meeting, the passing of one of our colleagues, Homer Post, was unexpected. So I'd like to close my remarks by reading just a portion of his obituary that staff was able to attend and be at his services last week. So if you'll indulge me for a second. Homer Post was born in Los Angeles, California on November 2nd, 1948, to Eva Jackson and Homer Lee Post. Homer lived and attended school in Los Angeles, graduating from his beloved Manual Manuel Arts High School. He met and married Helen Gray in 1968. From this union, they have 3 children, Rachel, Eva, and Richard. Homer attended Los Angeles City College and transferred to New Mexico State University on an athletic scholarship. Homer returned to California, where he attended California State University at Long Beach, where he would later return and obtain a bachelor's degree. In 1972, he was drafted as a free agent to the New England Patriots. He is currently a member of the NFL alumni. After leaving the NFL, he went to work for the U.S. Department of Commerce and the Small Business Administration. There, he was able to foster and develop small and emerging minority businesses. He also taught at California community colleges, classes in business and industrial management. After retiring from the department, Homer returned to his first love, recreation. He worked for the Los Angeles City Department of Recreation and Parks at various locations, was an active member of the LA unit of football officials, served as the president of AFSCME District Council 36. Before leaving the city of Los Angeles Recreation and Parks, he had become a facility director at Claude Pepper Senior Center. The joy of senior programming would follow him for the rest of his career. A career that took him to from the city of Compton, Farmington, New Mexico, and finally here with the city of Oceanside, where he oversaw our senior programming and services. Even while wearing many hats, Homer found time to pursue a career in real estate. He loved challenges and was always willing to go above and beyond. As he grew older, he loved to play golf. And after winning $27 in a tournament, he claimed professional status. Homer's gift of gab made you almost believe his logic. He often rode his bike, listened to jazz, and above else, loved to talk. Obviously, his loss was very sudden and unexpected for our team. But the spirit of Homer will live on in Parks and Recreation here in Oceanside forever. He was fond of saying several catchphrases: teamwork makes the dream work, and onward in solidarity. So even though we've lost a core member of our team, he will never be forgotten, and we will move forward with his spirit as we go onward in solidarity. So I wanted to share that. I appreciate your indulgence, but I'm happy to take any questions.
The open play drop-in, is there a fee down there at the Junior Seau Center?
Yeah, for children and for seniors, there's no fee. For everyone else, it's $3.
Okay. Is there a membership or anything?
No membership, just drop in. We're working on some sort of pass program. We're facilitating that through our registration program.
Okay. The meeting on 5/25 for the phase 2 is going to be here at?
It will be in the library community rooms, just to the west of us.
Okay, at 6?
6:30 to 8:30.
6:30 to 8:30.
I'd like to say thank you for the tribute to Homer. He was a good guy.
Was a great man.
I never met him.
The swimming opens up tomorrow at 8 a.m.?
Registration for all of our summer programs opens tomorrow at 8 a.m. Which swim lessons are a part of that, yes.
Thank you.
About the walk-in or drop-in, yeah, it's $3. I saw on the bottom of the calendar, it says credit cards only. Is that?
That's correct. Credit cards only at Junior Seau Beach Community Center.
Is there any reason why you can't just pay $3 cash?
It's a situation we've worked out with finance in terms of transporting funding. The total was not enough to justify a route. So that's why we're working on perhaps a monthly pass so that people don't have to pay with a card every single time. But that's the process we have in place now.
Okay. The other thing I was going to ask you, when the lights are completed at Mance Buchanan, are those fields going to be available to anybody to rent, to have a permit?
Yes, just like our application process is now, they can put an application in and go through the process. Whether it's, are you speaking about anybody or any?
Well, any of the sports teams that need, for instance, the Thunder, when you mentioned at the sports forum that they only took it for two days at RDO.
Correct. They submitted an application and they only requested 2 days and they were granted those 2 days.
And I had found out from them that the reason why they didn't want to do it again was because it was too small. Like the field or wherever they were was too narrow. So that's why I'm asking about other options like RDO or the 2 multipurpose fields at El Corazon or.
Yeah, Commissioner Godinez, obviously, as we've discussed, there are a lot of competing interests for fields by a lot of sports groups. And so, the best thing to do is for them to submit an application. Then we work with all the different parties based upon the different factors, whether it's a priority group, whether it's a residency-based group, and try and find access. Obviously, those fields are utilized year-round by groups. And so we'll work with them. I know we will be making some changes to the groups that are out there for this fall, as has been noted. So it won't all be soccer in the fall, but some of the other groups, football, things like that will be out there.
Okay. Thank you. That's it.
Quick question. What time do those lights have to be off? The new lights at Mansfield Buchanan?
At Mansfield Buchanan, we try and have all of our fields off by 9:30, just out of respect to the residents.
Okay, cool.
And we're not going to be putting lights on the other part of Mansfield Buchanan, only the one.
There are currently lights on the southern portion of the fields. Yeah, those ones are already lit. And so this will complete the lighting project for Mansfield Buchanan Park.
And greatly increase the usability of the park.
That is correct, Commissioner Herman. Specifically in the fall and winter months.
Well, that kind of brings up the Melba Bishop situation. It got tagged up pretty good yesterday. Wayne's got some pictures. He got a call from the police chief to get down there and take pictures too, because we can identify what gangs are warring right now. And then 3 weeks ago, my brother was down there and my son just left, but yeah, there was a little gang interaction going on with guns being fires, people shooting at each other. And so everybody hit the deck. So that was something I brought up to you about when I first got on the commission about lighting up that park.
Right.
And, I just want to reiterate how it is that Balderrama Park is lit all night until I go to work in the morning at 6:30. And that's because it's a gang-plagued neighborhood. It's a safety issue. What's going on down there at Melba Bishop is just as bad, and it's a bigger park. And like I told you, my cousin rides his bike to the middle of that park on a bike trail and then goes to his house, which is right on one of the neighboring streets. So before something happens, I really want you to think about that and everyone else to remember that I'm trying to advocate for that kind of lighting. You said it was a budget issue back then. And to me, it's a safety issue, just like Balderrama. Okay, so just
Sure,
wanted to.
Commissioner Gona, there's a lot of things that go into this. It's not just budget. If that was conveyed, I do apologize. Some residents as well as, some wanted lit all night. So we have to go into a variety of factors, but we'll certainly work with the police department and get their recommendations, because you have brought that up before, and we'll try and address some of the safety concerns that you mentioned with respect to the path through the park.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I have nothing to report. Commissioner Herman, do you have anything?
Just that my wife and I have started a project at the beginning of May where we plan to visit each of the city parks over the next year. And we're having a picnic lunch at them. And we've already completed that at 3 of the parks. And anticipate hitting the rest of them over the next 20 or 30 some weeks after that. That's it. And I recommend everybody do that.
Yeah, it is fun. My daughters
Because
and I.
we're
have
going to
been.
visit parks that I've never visited before.
Good, yeah. That's how my daughters and I have done that. We've played at a lot of different playgrounds. They're connoisseurs. Any other commissioner reports?
Yeah, I wanted to say, Mark, that's a great idea. My bride and I have decided to do the same thing about maybe a month or so ago. We've been walking all over the city since COVID started. We started by walking our neighborhood and realized in a couple of weeks that we were seeing the same damn thing every day. So we drive to a neighborhood and walk that neighborhood, and we decided to walk neighborhoods in the vicinities of parks. We found a park that doesn't have a sign, so you couldn't tell what park it is because there it is. It's just 2 posts. And I forgot, I made a note, but I forgot. It's on the map, so we can see it. But anyway, not a tragedy, it's just a little side comment. I also wanted to mention that, speaking of, we heard a little about Buccaneer Park tonight. I was at a Earth Day celebration there a couple weeks ago, and it was fabulous. A whole bunch of pop-up booths, all kinds of community groups concerned with our environment and so on. I don't know how many hundred people, but it was very well attended, very active, and well received. So I definitely want to compliment those who put that together and who attended. And I think that's about all I have.
Thank you. Buccaneer. It was Earth Day, we're hearing. Any other commissioner reports before we?
Well, I just want to comment on that topic. Yeah, I did have some blow-ups that we used at our first sports forum that we had. And I took pictures from the city website as far as the parks. And that was one of the recommendations I was going to make, was that you have it at every park to where like you can see where every other park is, because it's got like all 52 parks and gymnasiums throughout the place. So if you go to one park, you can see this kind of blown up map, and it'll tell you where the other parks like Lake and all of those, Oak, Riparian Park out there somewhere. But anyways, that's a recommendation that we'll have it one of our next updates as the ad hoc committee continues. Well, so there's 52 of these places on the map that you have, I think. Yeah, some are not actual like the parks, but they're a place to visit. So that, and then I also wanted to tell you, if you guys want to visit a park Saturday, come to Balderrama. Like I said earlier, we're going to be setting up on the tennis courts, our cup stack, pickleball. We're going to, actually, I was going to ask you if you had a portable net. Yes. Because we want to introduce pickleball into that neighborhood, because handball is kind of the game of choice there. And that's more inside the park. But we'll be doing, we'll have Donald there, Yasakochi. He'll be running some basketball little camps, but it's Let the Children Play Day. And so we'll be doing that. So just in case you guys, we'll probably be there from about 11 to 3. So everyone's invited.
Thank you.
That's it.
Any other reports? Okay, I'm gonna adjourn. What time is it? At 8:42. See you in July.